Okay, we'll make a start. Welcome everyone to this drop-in session. Today we're going to review and go through the members survey that was conducted at the end of last year, and on the back of that, the directors met in January to go through reviewing that information and really look at the strategy for our trade association going forward. So we'll cover that, and then there's meant to be a Q&A. So the whole idea of a drop-in session is that on the back of what the membership's told us and the back of what we're planning on doing this year, hopefully that'll generate some discussion from everyone. And we've got an hour, we've got plenty of time. Sessions recorded, so Claire will circulate that to those who couldn't make it. Now I have shared my screen. Hopefully, can everyone see the presentation? Right. Okay. So I'll go through it and pause just to reflect on a couple of points, and we'll welcome some conversation as we go through. I won't leave it all to the end. As long as it moves on to the next slide, which it's not. All right. So this is the basic summary headlines of the survey compared to 23. So top three pressing needs, quite clear. Business growth, commercial elements related to that, scaling business. 80% of our members have that as a pressing need. Recruitment is still a big one. I think it's a combination of things, probably equally weighted towards retention, strategies for retention, and incentives to attract people or keep them. And then marketing strategies has made an appearance as something that's beginning to get back into people's mindsets. Probably no surprise on the back of an improving market. So those were the top three needs that came out of the survey. And then looking at the priorities that the members want us to tackle during the course of 2024. At the top, PMIs, given the impact they have on everyone's ability to trade and be successful, particularly the Bupa dialogue. So 46% of the members saw that as a big priority for us. Again, support on marketing, business and commercial elements, along with quality software related to that, and then recruitment and staffing. So there are some certain synergies between the pressing needs and the things that you want us to tackle going through the course of the year. Just to, I guess, let you know some of the things that have been happening early this year. So we developed last year. We developed a relationship with IHPN, which is the big trade association that represents all of the big private hospital groups and big private providers, and they've been fantastic. And we meet with them quarterly. And they have similar battles with the insurers that we do. They are not making any headway, so they're not getting a different result to us at the moment, which is also, I guess, in a way, kind of good to know. But they have introduced us to another trade association, the Independent Doctors Federation, IDF, they represent about 1,500 private doctors and consultants. They are well funded, and they are working on a strategy to try and address the imbalance that exists in the private healthcare market in relation to the commissioning, and some would say the interference of the commissioning of services by private medical insurers. So we're engaged with them. They are going to update us provide us an update on where their strategy is at for 2024 and how we can work and support that, because again, we're a relatively small trade association. They're larger. actually, if we can start to pull a few of these groups together, then we're hoping we'll get some more traction. So there are a few things already working on that front. This is just breaking into the pressing needs. This just gives a bit more flavour in terms of the detail. So on the business and commercial side, a lot around scaling business growth. And I mean, equally, there's a number there that are interested in business exit. Preparing a business for sale probably is more accurate. Looking at reducing overheads, and then a number of other things that, I think with our commercial experience and knowledge within the group, I think we're well placed to support. So that's the detail within that. On the recruitment front, again, it's very much focused on recruitment, retention, incentivization of staff. I mean, there are some practical elements around, how do you structure contracts and those sorts of things. And a similar theme going into marketing, am I getting a good return on investment from my spend, digital advertising, etc. And actually, we think the best way for us to support that is to build a network of trusted specialists, I guess, who can provide specialist support in these areas to our members at a favourable rate. So we're looking to build out the knowledge base in that area. While we're lucky, we've got members who are very willing to share their experiences and give advice, which is fantastic. That's not going to cover everything for everyone. So we do need a fallback position, and we feel that building a bank of these almost like business functions that we can call on to support us from a legal, HR, marketing perspective could add real value to the membership. So that's definitely a focus. And then the PMI is all down to, clearly the networks, negotiating service provision on the back of that. So there's plenty to do on that front. Looking at the things that you've asked us or want us to tackle over the next 12 months in a bit more detail. Again, it's heavily weighted to improving the dialogue with the private medical insurers with a specific focus on Bupa. We had a call with Bupa last week, and I will be sending out an email update on that later today. It was a positive meeting. It's probably too much to cover in given the confines of today's call, but hopefully the email that you get later will spell out exactly where things are at, where things are going, and the role that we can play in that. So that Bupa have asked us for some input on the benchmarking that they do for prices. So as I said, I'll detail that in an email later today. Marketing, as I said, looking at advice and strategies. We're gonna get the support in, and may even look at running some specialist sessions, webinars, using external professional groups to give us that, take the lead on that one. There's still a lot around the business and commercial elements, mentorship, diversification of revenue streams. So again, I think we've got a lot of knowledge within the membership and within the directorship as well. So I think a lot of that we're well placed to support. Software, there's still a lot going on, and there's still a lot that needs to be done. There's still people that are having challenges with health code. We can definitely help with that. There's someone there's requested a Medibase software subgroup. We can help with that as well. We've got a few of the larger providers on that particular product, so I'm sure that would be worthwhile. And just continuing to work with the software providers to make sure that they are delivering solutions that meet our needs. I know there's a number of people looking at Nucleus, obviously waiting for them to integrate with health code. And there's a number of our members now actively using Simplicity to collect outcomes. So there'll be plenty more that we can do on that front during the course of the year going ahead. In terms of the question we asked around webinar topics, and preferences. This is how it laid out from in terms of the feedback. So we'll be pulling together a draft view on our webinar topics for the year, and we'll circulate that. But it'll be based on what you've told us are your preferences. And again, maybe changing up the style of how we do it. Maybe looking at some Q&As, a bit more interactive as opposed to just someone delivering some content and people logging in and listening to it. So we'll play around with some alternative options on that front. In terms of the output from the strategy day that the directors had, I mean, these are the objectives that we've set ourselves for MSK Partners Network for the year. We want to absolutely grow. We want to increase our membership. We'd love to get, well over the 50 mark in both Tier 1 and Tier 2. So there is definitely a focus on that. The reality is that membership brings in revenue, and revenue enables us to do more for the members. So we'll be doing all we can to help grow that, and would ask you as well to be positive ambassadors for what we do, and to, if you're talking to colleagues that run businesses in this space and you feel that they should be a member and would benefit, then please do let them know. We really do want to ensure that the focus on quality is not diluted by all the other good stuff that's happening as well. And we strongly feel that our members should be 100% engaged in collecting outcome data, both proms and prems, to measure the effectiveness of what we do. And that narrative underpins, clearly a lot of the conversations that we are having with the insurers, and it should underpin conversations that all of us are having with patients and with consumers. So, for us, that quality focus is still very important. Linked to that very strongly is the need for us to look at publishing some data on the back of all of the good collection that's been done to date. Also linked to that point is the collation of data. So looking at a central repository for our members to submit data and allow some sort of benchmarking to go on at an anonymized level at least. So there's a lot that we want to do on the data quality piece. It's interlinked, and that will be a big focus. We've got a new quality lead for the year ahead. So Claire Small, who has taken the lead on it over the last few years, is going to be stepping back from the quality side of things to focus more on the implementation of advanced practice as a standard in our own business at Pure Sports Medicine, but also in the wider sector. And we're very lucky and delighted actually that Lucy Golby has agreed to step up and take the lead on the quality side of things for MSK Partners Network. So there'll be more to come from Lucy on that. We know that the PMIs, the relationship with the PMIs and the improving of the commercial terms that we have, and also making it easier to the burden if we can, is incredibly important to all members. So it's a big focus to continue to push that along and to try and improve where things are at, because clearly things have stagnated, particularly with Bupa, and we need to change what's happening there as much as we can. Looking at influence, I mean, the thing here, I think, as I said before, we are a relatively small trade association, so looking to partner with larger organisations that have similar objectives. And I think with the PMIs, a great example where we've got better chance of getting some real traction partnering with some of these larger trade associations to tackle some of those more challenging topics. Okay, so that is a summary of what you told us from the survey that was done at the end of the last year, and a view of the objectives of that the directors want are focused on delivering on behalf of you guys, the members, for the year ahead. And so now, as a drop-in session, it's I'd like to, hopefully there's some questions and queries and things we can chat about and talk about. So I will throw the floor open to questions. Or reflections from any of the other directors, Tash, Nicola, Karen.
Yeah, I mean, I went with Simon to the Bupa meeting, and as Simon said, he will get some information out to you all. But there was, which you didn't just say, Simon, there was an indication that there will be some increases for everybody, but they want to base that on the information that Simon will share with you and benchmark self-paid prices as well. They do always, every time I've met with them, I've come away very frustrated, but I did feel this time that there is actually going to be some movement. So, and we're meeting with them again at the end of March. Is that right, Simon? And then at which point they will be able to tell us how much they're going to increase our fees by. But it's not when, it's not if now, it will be when. It's just a question as to how much.
Yeah.
What's the strategy for the benchmarking, Simon? How are you going to go about it?
So Bupa do this wonderful thing of saying that they benchmark, and they do this with the hospital contracts as well, that they benchmark rates, self-funding rates in your area. And I'm always very keen to see the information that they've used for benchmarking, because when I do my own analysis, we come up with very different numbers. So what they have asked us is, would our members be willing to help, would we as a trade association be willing to engage with our members to help collate some self-funding information on pricing? So the information we need is very basic. It's anonymized. We need postcode of your clinic, what you charge for an initial self-funding appointment, and what you charge for a follow-up self-funding appointment. And Bupa will then take that information and they will use that as part of their benchmarking exercise, because my experience is that they pick and choose rates that suits them, and I want it to be fairly reflected, or we want it to be fairly reflected. So that's what they've asked us to do.
Yeah, makes sense. Will you add a time-based construct to your questionnaire? Because some initial appointments are half an hour, some are 45, and some are 60.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we will ask for that as well. No, quite right. Yeah.
And I suppose it's important to add in, as part of that data collection and publishing report, there will be later this year a initiative that's going to be driven by MSKPN, hopefully Physio First, Physio Matters, and HMDG, the marketing company, where we do a national survey of MSK practitioners, independent, and some of that information that we're then looking to gather is around this pricing as well. So that again, it will all be anonymized. It's not, but it's starting to gather more information around the market and around the statistics and the facts from the people that actually run the organizations and are involved in it. So keep your eyes out for that, which will hopefully be launching probably into the springtime as well.
We've just done an exercise for our subsidiaries looking at this, and we asked them to rule out people working from home and stuff like that for obvious reasons. And I don't know what Bupa do, whether they separate that, but correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they'd offer a contract to a practice of that size. So that's quite important. And for analysis purposes, generally we take out the cheapest and the most expensive to look at the average.
Yeah, it's really important that we engage with this, because over the years of negotiating with the insurers, my argument's always been the market rate is what someone is willing to pay for a service, which is our self-funding rates. And as we all know, the gap between our self-funding rates and insured rates has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, if they are serious about using proper industry information to benchmark, then, and given the fact that nearly everyone now has pricing, self-funding pricing on their websites, because we are a consumable service, we should make sure that they are using the right information in our areas to benchmark these rates, because it's incredibly important.
I haven't done this analysis, but if you look at, sorry, is someone else going first?
Carry on, John.
No, after you.
The only point I was going to make was, if we're actually collecting that data and we're giving it to them, they can't then fudge us off with other data. So we're in control of the data that we're collecting, and therefore it's very difficult to kind of then divert from that.
Exactly, and specifically with Bupa, I'm sure most people know, but there's another physio network connected to the hospitals, and Bupa granted that network a 5% increase last year, and are granting that network a 2% increase this year. So there is pressure. There is a precedent. Bupa have already given one network an increase and another not, and then there is growing pressure. So as Tash said, we certainly felt that the direction of travel with Bupa is not something will happen. We have no idea what the quantum will be, but we'll be doing everything we can to give them information that will give us hopefully the best possible outcome for our members.
Simon,
was the 2% accepted?
No.
Simon, can I ask what sort of timelines? Because obviously the longer the delay actually doing anything about it, they're just pushing it further and further down the line. So had they give you an indication that they're talking about doing something in the next 6 months or 12 or?
Well, they said that they would have a decision on this within the next 2 months, which is why Natasha and I have got a follow-up meeting with them in March. So we are expecting, because we posed the same question to them. This is not just a case of an update in 2 months' time. No, they were like, no, it will be a decision in 2 months' time. So hopefully that gives you a better steer that an actual decision is, I would say, 3 months as opposed to anything else.
Yeah, and he was very definite about that. So.
Simon, I'm just conscious that the gap between the self-pay rates and what Bupa are paying is now so large. Would they consider a kind of top-up model where Bupa part pay and then patients self-fund the remainder?
We ask them that every time.
And that's been talked about already.
Yeah, no, every time we ask them. No, I ask them again. I always do, don't worry. But and because we completely agree that's the way forward, but they don't want to be seen to their clients as somebody that makes people pay for therapy. They want it all to be included and not the top up. So we did push that again. He may have listened, I don't know, but absolutely that would be the best way forward. But that's not how they want to run their business.
And we're also on you alluded to the hospital network rate. We're on that rate rather than the normal physio contract. But they are now trying to tie us in for the next 3 years with a £1 increase per year over the next 3 years, which is literally got sent that contract through yesterday. So again, not sure it's something that we're in a position to refuse, but at the same time, in £1 extra over the next 3 years, and agreeing to that at this point just seems, we're really stitching ourselves up.
Yeah, I mean, I think on that, I have no idea why they've chosen a 3-year term. Historically, it's either been 1 year or 2 years, and there's, trying to take a view on inflationary and price pressure in 3 years' time is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's one of the points that we've pushed back on. I'm not prepared to sign up to a 3-year contract. And equally, I suggest that, there has to be an acknowledgement that, inflationary pressures are coming off. But if you look at economic forecasts over the next 2 years, next year there's supposed to be, obviously far less inflation than this year. And actually, I'm suggesting that the weighting of increases should reflect that. So for me, the term is too long, and the weighting of any increase needs to reflect how economists are forecasting it.
Yeah.
And has your rejection of the contract been disseminated amongst the people who have the hospital groups? Because otherwise people are going to be starting to accept those contracts, and then if some people are accepting it, then they'll just wait for everyone to accept it, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very big group.
Yeah.
It's not a very big group with regards to physiotherapy. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully all you guys have been speaking. Have you guys all been speaking? Hopefully.
not colluding,
Because, you know,
clearly.
No, not colluding, but absolutely no collusion. But I guess there's a rejection, you know, like Sam has said, you know, it's for us, 2% increase is less than £1. You know, it's like, it's just an untellable offer. And if that's what you guys have been offered, and I think you guys are on preferential rates, and we're going to be offered about 50p or something. So
they did allude to 6%, 5 or 6%, didn't they? So, well, we don't know, but
We will wait and see.
yeah, we said that the gap between self-pay and their fee has risen to 35% in most clinics, which is completely unacceptable.
yeah.
And that we would.
And can we do?
But not 35.
Yeah. Can we do better than just collecting the data from the 44 members on MSKPN, of which you probably will only get 60% engagement, I would guess? Like, can we all try and contribute some additional data from our local areas so we can go to them with 100 clinics or 150 clinics?
Yeah, we've got that. We've got that information.
I just think
for ours.
they may just be humouring us, and if we come to them with 50 clinics, but they've got 2,000 clinics on their unit, then they're just like keeping us happy, you know. But actually, they're going to say, well, you've given us 30 bits of data, but we've got 2,000. I don't know. I just feel like let's get more data lines to present to them.
Yeah, sorry, Simon. I've only been working in this sector for 2.5 years now. But what is their response to the analysis? Because correct me if I'm wrong, they haven't come close to keeping up with inflation for an extended period of time.
No.
So what is their response to that? Just that one point of catching up with inflation?
They don't really have one. They don't care, really. They quite happily go to cheaper providers if they can, but the traction has grown with our relationships with these other people and the fact that we as a group together are happy with it. But I don't know, Simon, I don't think they really care. They're just going to put it up a bit now because we've pushed it. We'll see.
Yeah,
it's interesting because we've seen some good increases in our fees for our medical services. You know, some really good percentage increases with Bupa. So to say that they can't do that for the physio services seems absolutely ludicrous if they've got, you know, manoeuvrability for the medical services.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. It's chalk and cheese negotiating the two different elements of the contract. One is commercially sensible, and I guess you've got to be prepared to give up a sensible discount for volume. And I've always felt that sensible discount is probably around about 20% discount on your self-funding rates. But when that discount, as Tash said, starts to get to 30% and over, then the disparity is just too great. And the flip side of the coin for a lot of these insurers is that they will continue to pump up their premiums by significant amounts to protect their end. So, the ones that get squeezed are unfortunately us.
But I think there is a growing dissatisfaction across the whole medical profession, with particularly Bupa. And obviously the anaesthetic actions have made them wake up, and they dealt with that. It was quite consuming for them, and they didn't want to go through that again. So I think they are more open now. And I spoke to a lawyer about this, and we can't obviously do a cartel, but we could have a class action with lots of other actions against them. So they know that momentum is gathering and people aren't happy. We have to do something. But yeah, whether or not it will be 20%, I don't know.
And the work that the Independent Doctors Federation have started is significant. So they've engaged a public affairs consultancy to lead on this. So they're putting quite a lot of money behind it. And they are busy building a bunch of evidence, and again, they're going to want our support. So there will be a request to our members to help give examples of where insurers have interfered with the care pathway and where it's been substandard. And they're going to basically build a body of evidence, and then they're going to get it out there in the public domain, and they're going to cause a bit of a storm. So they've got some good strategy people working on it. They're putting good money behind it. So we will certainly be holding onto their coattails as closely as we can to support that.
Brilliant, thank you.
That sounds excellent. I always think it would make a really good panorama, this whole saga.
Well, also
Yeah.
this approach looks very much like market manipulation as well, doesn't it? It's so common, and it's such a substantial for all of them, that it really does look like there are conversations going on behind doors, as in what can we get away with, sort of thing, and are we going to hold the line or not? If it's surprising, isn't it, that one of them doesn't break ranks? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and they are regulated as insurers. They are not regulated as care providers. And I think that's the line that they feel is being blurred on many occasions.
Is MSKPN providing any financial support to this marketing or PR campaign? As in, is physio going to get mentioned, or are they, because we've not provided them any financial support, we may get left behind?
No. Physio has been identified as a strategic partner in this. We don't, at the moment, we don't need to. It's fully funded, but what they do need is they need our cases. They need our support from within the sector. So they're pulling together, I guess, a survey tool to collect this information. So there'll be more information coming to our members, hopefully shortly in the next month or so. So at the moment, they just want our engagement, which they've got. Any other issues or things people want to discuss today?
Simon, I think your idea of having whenever we have a webinar, having lots of different voices is a good one, because it's quite a large spread within the sector of smaller to larger, and having representation throughout MSKPN for then each of those voices to be heard on webinars. I think it's a really good idea. Yeah,
no, I think so. Just to freshen it up, and we've got lots of experience and lots of businesses at very different stages. And actually, I think the panel discussion and Q&A forum stuff that like what you do on a podcast, maybe do it in a video environment could be interesting. Nicola, anything you want to add to that as our resident podcast guru?
I think I'm a monkey on it at the moment, but I'm getting there. No, I suppose I've touched base, and I'm continuing to touch base with someone around, or two different people on marketing and SEO and Google ad management. Someone else whose name got shared, I think, from a recruitment perspective. But if there's anyone else that, as members, you've used and found really beneficial, and would like to introduce them to the wider organisation, then do drop me a message and I can touch base with them. So we've got obviously the member benefits, but as Simon said, we're trying to pull together a larger group of what we're going to call kind of strategic partners that offer different specialities in different areas. And ideally, we want a choice of 2 for each, so it's not a monopoly. So 2 for marketing, 2 for HR, 2 for recruitment, so it gives people kind of a choice as well within that. But yeah, if there's any people that you want to introduce me to from an MSKPN point of view, then I'm very happy to pick up conversations with them.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Nicola. It's a similar concept to the commercial partners. So obviously, we pulled them together to benefit, rebates or discounts to benefit commercially the members. And equally, just given the types of queries that are coming through, we obviously need this this other kind of, I guess you call it a central office function that we can call on specific expertise. So, hopefully it starts to deliver some value. But as Nicola said, if you've got any suggestions, please forward them through.
I was just going to say in response to you, Amy, on the Bupa side of things, just going back, sorry, but we are going to wait till we speak to them at the end of March. But if it's the same story and they're not changing things, at that point we have got some ideas of things that we can do together but separately, but including PR and going to know what's happening. But let's see what they say at the end of March first.
Great, sounds really good.
Where do I find a list of the commercial partnerships that we've got? Because I haven't actually looked into any of these yet.
On the website.
Yeah, Claire Nevin will be able to direct, but there is in the members section, there should be a page on all the member benefits and points of contact and what those offers and things look like.
Okay, I don't think I've got a login, so I'll need to set that up.
Email Claire, she can get you set you up.
I worked out from my rebates from Eureka that I probably paid for my membership time and a half with just the rebates from Eureka. So that one in particular is very worthwhile.
Great, thank you.
Also as well, Celia and Mike spoke to people, did a webinar back in October. If there's anything that I know they'd be keen to engage further, if there's appetite. So if anybody think of anything they would like them to kind of do or suggestions with any of those going forward, then please let us know and we can try on that as well.
That's Payless Practice Group, and they just did a session with our admin team and they were great, really good. So we can...
Yeah.
Great.
Any other thoughts from anyone on the programme for the year or what Simon went through?
Right, thank you very much.
All good. All right. Well, if you
Thank
think
you.
if you think of anything,
Thank you.
post the call. Just send it across to the directors or Claire. But thanks to everyone for making the time today, and good to get some discussion. And I will get a summary of the Bupa meeting out today. Also, attached to that will be the data collection that we want to feed into the benchmarking for them. So that'll be in the same email. Tash and I have a follow-up in March with them, so that's the timescale on that front. But otherwise, we will be moving all the other agendas and objectives forward, and working hard on behalf of our members. So thanks very much for your time and support.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
Cheers.
everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.